Good morning. Today I am going to bring you a podcast about something that I do that's kind of on the side and really what got me going in astrology and divination in the first place. And that is that my first bit of reading skills came from reading animals. And in the recent past on Facebook, there are different groups that allow like free, paid, and psychic readings. And I had a lady that got a hold of me and wanted a reading on her bird, which I have not up until at this point charged anything for these readings because I've been really in the process of developing these skills, and I think it's important to acknowledge that I need practice, and in order to provide quality service to you, the customer, I need to do diligent work on my back end, which is make sure I know what I'm talking about before I bring it to you. And so I had this bird come up in my life that was a parrot, and I'd had other encounters with birds, but not reading them exactly. I had for a while a red-tailed hawk that really took a love to me and was my friend. And so reading a bird for me was not altogether foreign, but not altogether what I thought I knew either, because I thought it was more like dogs, cats, horses, your farm animals. I lived on a farm. So a lot of what I thought I was going to be doing would be like helping ranchers with livestock and kind of different problems they might be encountering, if they can't masticate or chew their food for some reason and they're not getting good nutrition, or whatever the story might have been. Well, recently I had a most beautiful story about a bird. Her name is Paisley, and she was being babysat by someone who got COVID. And one night while I was sleeping, she showed me her eyes. She just came to me and said, "You know me, and I'd like your help." And so I didn't really know where this was going. And so I just went to her mom, whom I speak to daily, who is my dear study partner and friend and sister in life, that we read together as medical astrologers, Farnoosh. Her bird's name is Paisley, and she's a parrot. And I had told her my concerns about Paisley, that she had come to me and showed me her eyes and said I knew her, but that I felt like she was saying she was in some form of distress, and that I didn't know, what it was. So we pulled cards, and all within this day. And it turned out that the bird very much was in distress. Not only was she in distress, but at the same point in time, her brother called and said, I am here at the house, and this and that, and he brought the bird that night home to her. And as it turns out, I had done a reading that day on the bird, and the bird was giving me every indication that she was feeling like a hermit and that her needs just simply weren't getting met. And not because, anybody was trying to neglect her, but because of circumstances that were beyond control, which was Dad had issues with his lungs now, and he wasn't getting around, and he's older, and it's hard when you get COVID and you're already have a strike or two against you. So what I'm doing today is I have the Crow Tarot, and we're just going to simply ask Paisley to just help us to understand how it is that the air, something airy about birds and communication, is taking place, and what does that really look like. So I'm using the Crow Tarot for this, and the way I select is I just have my cards like so, and I just take, and because I have crystal balls and all kinds of stuff, my cards are clean. I'm always in kind of in a state of communication with my cards. And so what did I get? You can see this bird is riding over the back of this gallant white steed, a knight of swords, where this swords are going to be air. They're going to be airy and fast and furious. yes, that this bird was capable of communicating with me telepathically, that we are so much more than we understand. And I'm Sag rising, so the horse, you know, kind of speaks to that energy, right? That I'm all about it. But it also speaks to Chiron, that wounded healer. This bird understood that I'm coming from a place of a little different perspective, and therefore she could communicate with me. Now, what's beautiful is when Farnoosh and I talk, which is daily. We study together, so we may spend 3 or 4 hours a day on our studies, listening to lectures, discussing books we're reading or have read or need to read. So our ongoing story is that we continue to do this work. Well, now the bird is very much involved in our work and will sit in her lap and watch lectures with us and take it all in. So she and I now share this love of Paisley, this parrot. And I've never had a parrot per se in that sense that was mine and that I had this connection with, but they do live significant amounts of time. And this parrot for Farnoosh is more or less I would say, a service animal as well, without really it being something that is obvious. So here's this bird when we communicate, and I'm just going to ask again, Paisley, tell me, when we do the work and you're sitting there, how is that for you? How do you feel? And so what does she say? Okay, this is adorable. We get a 6 of wands. She sees it herself as sitting up in the sun watching us do this work. And as we do this work, how we gain momentum and how other birds gather around us, the number 6 being that of family. She views herself as our family. She views herself as having some belonging to both Farnoosh and I. And she does these very cute little things now when she sees me on the video, because we video study. She talks to me. She'll make these little cute sounds and she'll show me. She'll move her head up and down, and then, you know, she tells me if she's got cold feet or if mom's having a bad day. So this bird and I have developed this really beautiful, if you will, bullseye of communication. Somehow the sun, the portal, the energy is rich and it's able to come through on various levels, and you can see all these spiky things all around that corona, where she's saying, yes, I'm here providing this information. So with that, I would like you to consider to book a reading between Farnoosh and I, any kind of reading, we've got different ones, at www.twiggie.com. And we look forward to being of assistance to you, whatever your needs are. And I thank you so much for joining me here today.